The fire threat remains extreme. Fire crews on scene this morning at a farm on Prospect Road north of Eldon Station Road where a field caught fire. That farm field is southwest of Kerrfield where a separate forest fire is still out of control. Good afternoon. Our coverage of the forest fire threat continues.
The Kerrfield fire is now larger than a separate major forest fire that broke out Saturday night near Burnt River north of Bobcaygeon. CTV's Rahim Ladhani has been following the latest developments. He joins us now with more. Rahim.
Michelle and Nathan, good afternoon. We're seeing very clearly how the high heat, dry conditions and minimal rainfall is the perfect recipe for forest fires to spark and spread quickly. You mentioned Kerrfield. This is the grass fire in that area, which is a village within Kawartha Lakes. It first sparked yesterday afternoon. It started out quite small, but has rapidly grown in size to 33.5 hectares. Ontario Provincial Police tell us that farms are actively moving their animals to safety. The fire is being battled with fire ranger crews, air attack, and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry has been asked to help. While that battle continues, so too is the fight against another wildfire in Kawartha Lakes. This is the one between Bobcaygeon and Kinmount. The fire has been burning for nearly 3 days. The positive is that it hasn't grown in size, staying steady at 27 hectares. However, it is still out of control. Now, within the last half hour, we received an update from officials. Have a listen.
Fire has been tied in, meaning that the suppression efforts intended to secure the fire's perimeter have been secured by a continuous measure that would assist in preventing it from advancing further, such as hose line, fire guard, or natural boundaries, such as shorelines and bodies of water. The status remains not under control.
At this time, there is no evacuation order, and there is no thought at the moment of evacuation.
Now, in an attempt to be proactive, at least 6 cities in the Greater Toronto area have also issued complete fire bans. Ajax, Aurora, Newmarket, Oakville, Oshawa, and Peterborough have all suspended open-air burning until further notice. That ban applies to any outdoor wood-burning appliances, including fire pits and bonfires. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladhani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. Well, here's a live look at the city this afternoon. It's another scorcher. A heat warning is still in effect. It's also humid out there, so it feels even hotter. So stay safe if you're outdoors today. Remember to stay hydrated and try to stay cool if you can. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Another hot one, Lindsay.
Another hot one, Nathan. The big difference today is that we could actually get a little bit of rain, which, as we just mentioned, would be a really great thing here in southern Ontario. Depending on where you're joining us from, you might have encountered a few thunderstorms very early this morning, a couple of juicy cells, and now on the radar, we're watching a cluster of storms move across the state of Michigan and over Lake Huron. A couple of cells bubbling up around Lake Erie as well. This afternoon, we'll have an eye on the sky here in the GTA for possible downpours, maybe some thunder and lightning as well. But not everyone is going to get significant rain, but the chance is there today. That's a good thing. 29 degrees this hour in Toronto. It's already feeling close to 40, hence why this heat warning remains in effect. It did come to an end for parts of Muskoka and around the Bruce Peninsula. We've got southerly winds, and again, that risk of storms today, 32 degrees is going to feel like 40, but a couple of changes are on the way. We're going to take you through the 7-day forecast coming up. For now, Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Elementary teachers in Ontario have begun a campaign to reduce class size.
It's a top priority issue at the ETFO convention being held in Toronto, and our Natalie Johnson is there. She joins us with the details. Natalie.
That's right, Michelle. Class size is the headline issue that the public elementary teachers of this province are looking to bring to the bargaining table next year. The union representing those educators calling it a unifying issue for them. It comes as more than 700 teachers gather at the Sheraton Centre in downtown Toronto to outline their priorities for the year ahead. They are saying that the class size issue is an urgent one and that overcrowded classrooms stretch teachers too thin, reducing individual supports for students. As of right now, primary grades 1 to 3 have the funding for an average class size of 20 students, but grades 4 to 8 are at an average of 24.5, and there are no caps on class sizes in those grades. That means there are cases where classes in that grade range have more than 30 students in a class. ETFO was calling on the province to cap the number of students in those grades 4 to 8 at 24 students, and also cap the number of kindergarten students in a class at 26. Here is more from the president of ETFO this morning.
What we're hoping from this campaign is to really continue to sound the alarm with the government. We've been saying this for years, but it's reached a critical mass. And we're saying that the government needs to invest in public education, and they need to look at reducing class size. Reduction in class size is one way to address some of the violence that we're seeing in schools. Reduction in class size means more one-to-one attention for our students.
The contract for the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario will expire about a year from now at the end of August 2026. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Michelle and Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Now to Hamilton, where there is word today arrests have been made in the murder of a man late last month.
25-year-old Zachary Schumann was found shot in the parking lot of a condo in Dundas on July 27th. CTV's John Musselman covered the update this morning and joins us live with more details. John.
Good afternoon, Nathan. Yes, Hamilton detectives tell us that they've arrested two people, a 27-year-old man from Kitchener and a 30-year-old man from Dundas in connection with this homicide. We'll just show you some video taken late last month. This is the scene of the shooting. Zachary Schumann was found shot, and he died at the scene on July the 27th. Police say this started at a nearby grocery store, and then there were two vehicles involved, and then it ended at this parking lot of this condo building. Now, what we did learn today is that the victim and the two suspects were all known to each other. We're also told by Hamilton police that one of the accused in this case is allegedly known as a drug trafficker in the Hamilton area. Now, we did have a chance to listen to detectives this morning. Here's what they had to say.
They are known to each other. There is the dispute that happens ahead of time. So whether it was pre-planned or targeted, we don't know. But again, the parties were known to each other. It seems to just occur at that time.
Now, police wouldn't get into a specific motive, but the question about a possible drug deal gone bad, issues of that, they did not rule that out. They say that's all part of the investigation. The victim in this case was a single father of a 3-year-old daughter. According to a GoFundMe page, his parents will raise the child. Reporting live in Hamilton, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. A GTA family is calling for justice after a father of 3 was killed in a crash where their vehicle was hit head-on a week ago Sunday.
And CTV News has learned the same driver was also charged in a collision involving Ontario's premier on Highway 401 back in January. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Andrew Cristillo was a family man with 3 young daughters.
Andrew is a gift to this world. The funniest guy.
And when his wife was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, he stepped up, riding in fundraisers and raising money for cancer research, said his brother Jordan.
He was there along her side through all her appointments, providing her support like a rock.
Then on Sunday, August 3rd, all that changed. Cristillo's car hit head-on just after 9 p.m. as his family returned from a gathering at his parents' house. He died instantly. His wife, Christina, rescued the girls.
She's the strongest person I know. She had to kick her way out of the windshield and try to pull these girls one by one out of the car on her own while they're calling for help from their daddy.
The 4 survivors recovering in hospital. The girls were told of their father's death last week.
Leah has a cast that she saved a spot for Daddy to sign. But he won't be able to do that now.
18-year-old Jay Winkiru Benanthan has been charged with dangerous driving causing Cristillo's death and bodily harm to his daughters. He's also charged with making a false statement to police and accused of failing to remain at the scene. And CTV News has learned the same driver was also charged in a collision on the 401 that sideswiped Premier Doug Ford's vehicle in January.
We were just driving straight. Next thing you know, you got hammered.
We want justice for Andrew. And to make sure that reckless driving, where people have no respect for the lives that they impact with their actions, is put to an end.
Until this happened, surviving Christina's cancer was the family's first focus. Now it's preparing for their dad's funeral. John Woodward, CTV News.
After being vandalized and brought down multiple times, the speed enforcement camera on Parkside Drive has been reinstalled.
This is not a joke, folks. Speed kills. There's a reason why there are speed camera there. If you're breaking the law, we're going to tag you. We're going to ask you to pay. And that is precisely why there are speed cameras in multiple places.
Crews reinstalled the camera after it was chopped down for the 6th time in 9 months. It was vandalized shortly after a surveillance camera was installed to try and catch the individuals responsible for previous vandalism. The Parkside Drive camera was installed in 2022 and has issued over 66,000 tickets, bringing in more than $7 million in fines.
The city's launching a new campaign to educate people about the proper use of bike lanes as well as other cycling rules.
We are seeing a growing concern and use and popularity around micromobility devices. So micromobility are small, compact, low-speed vehicles. These can include bikes, e-scooters, e-bikes, and folding bikes, for example. And just the affordability and accessibility of them, we're seeing quite high volumes on our road.
The campaign includes a number of posters which will tell cyclists not to stop in bike lanes, as well as make sure they're riding in the right direction. The posters also remind cyclists not to ride on sidewalks and that mopeds are too fast to be in bike lanes.
Now to more on the wildfire threat, this time on the East Coast. In Newfoundland and Labrador, a major wildfire near Kingston is quickly growing in size, and there are reports more homes have been lost to the flames. For more on the situation in this country, let's bring in CTV's Scott Hurst. Scott, we were talking about earlier what's happening in Ontario. What's the latest in other parts of the country?
Michelle, good afternoon. Specifically when it comes to Newfoundland, moments ago we got an update from Newfoundland Premier John Hogan providing an update on the latest in the firefight that is ongoing, as there are two concerning wildfires that, according to the Premier, saying moments ago, continue to grow and that they are expanding evacuation alerts. Firstly, you mentioned the Kingston fire. It has now grown to more than 6,300 hectares. And according to the Premier, saying this moments ago, that they are expecting significant loss in more communities as that fire continues to spread. Now, a new fire that has flared up closer to the St. John's metropolitan area than any of the most recent wildfires, threatening also the transmission power lines into the St. John's metropolitan area, which is home to more than 200,000 people. That fire, known as the Paddy's Pond Fire, has also grown from about 150, 170 hectares yesterday when it flared up to more than between 200 and 300 hectares now. But as the Premier said, smoke is making it incredibly difficult to map. And so this is threatening the communities of Paradise and Conception Bay South, that is southwest of St. John's and south of the Mount Pearl area along the Trans-Canada Highway on the Avalon Peninsula. And as I mentioned, also potentially threatening the power supply into the St. John's metropolitan area. Newfoundland Power putting out multiple statements and updates all throughout the day yesterday and today, monitoring the situation, saying it is directly in the transmission corridor, making smoke and flames, meaning smoke and flames could lead to significant power disruptions in the largest population center of Newfoundland and Labrador, Michelle.
That's so unfortunate. And Scott, summer after summer now, wildfires are a reality in this country. No doubt lessons have been learned over the years. Is there a sense from experts as to where this wildfire season could be going, when we might be through the worst of it?
At this point, the wildfire season, as we've been seeing, has been fueled by significant hot and dry conditions with little rain bringing any significant relief, and it'll likely will to continue to stay that way for many more weeks, at least getting us through the rest of August and into September. And as we've already reported, this has been one of the most destructive wildfire seasons on record in terms of the amount of terrain that has burned so far this year. And a lot of experts point to the fact that climate change continues to make wildfires worse. According to the Canadian Climate Institute, accelerating climate change, largely from the burning of fossil fuels, is making wildfires bigger, hotter, and more frequent, causing much greater destruction, as we've seen so much of already this wildfire season. Michelle, really much from coast to coast across the country.
We sure have. CTV's Scott Hurst live for us in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
WestJet experienced a network-wide tech issue this morning that did affect flights at several Canadian airports, including at Pearson.
But the problem has now been fixed and the airline is returning to normal operations. Pearson's reporting the system outage has been resolved, but passengers are advised to check their flight status for updates before heading to the airport. The issue delayed the handover of aircraft from maintenance personnel for scheduled operation. Arriving and departing flights were also affected at airports in Montreal, Ottawa, and Saskatoon, among others. There could be some lingering delays. WestJet is apologizing to any guests who may have experienced a disruption to their travel plans.
China is escalating its year-long trade dispute with Canada. Beijing is imposing a preliminary 75.8% anti-dumping duty on Canadian canola. The rate will be effective from Thursday. The steep duties would likely all but end imports if they are maintained. China is the world's largest importer of canola and sources nearly all of its supplies from Canada. The trade dispute began with Ottawa's imposition of tariffs on Chinese electric vehicle imports last August.
Ontario's premier attended an event in Windsor this morning, taking the opportunity to talk about his stance on the Trump administration's tariffs policy.
The foundation of our healthcare system, our foundation of our education, of our infrastructure, is one thing. It is our economy. And that's why we have two choices here. We either roll over and get steamrolled by this guy south of the border that's causing inflation and driving up costs, or we fight like we've never fought before. And we've decided, and I think Canadians have decided, that we're going to fight like we've never fought before and stand up to the bully across the border there, and they will never, ever give up.
The premier has warned that U.S. President Donald Trump will be coming hard at Canada when it's time to renegotiate the existing free trade deal between the countries. The deal is not set to be renegotiated until next year, but Doug Ford says Trump could move to reopen the deal as early as November. And there's more bad news for Canada's forestry sector, now reacting to the Trump administration's decision to more than double penalties on softwood lumber imports.
Officials in BC say the move doesn't just hurt Canadian business, but will drive up construction costs for Americans. CTV's Abigail Beeman has those details.
We've sent our student workers home a month early for the summer. And we're going to, quite honestly, we're going to try to keep our mill, which employs 25 people in Chilliwack, going.
Andy Riley says things are urgent for his business and the entire softwood lumber industry. The trade war and the new Department of Commerce decision to raise tariffs, which along with counter-dumping duties totaled just over 35%, adds up to the most challenging time he's seen in 40 years.
We have to put that duty onto our sale price. And what happens to our customers is sometimes their sales slow down and their customers will start substituting for composite products or other hardwoods or other softwoods, whatever. But we are in danger of pricing Western red cedar completely out of the market.
BC's Minister of Forests called the U.S. move absurd and reckless, while the federal Natural Resources Minister said the industry has for too long been subject to unfair trade actions and the tariffs hurt Canadians and Americans alike. The U.S. decision comes after the Prime Minister promised supports, including $700 million in loans and $500 million to support market diversification.
Canada does not dump lumber into the United States, and we will continue to make the case that these current and proposed duties are unjustified.
The industry largely welcomed Ottawa's move, but Andy Riley says his group is working on pitching some other ideas to the feds. They're looking for help to pay the difference in duties between their raw materials cost and the sale price, which is what's so crippling about the new tariffs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada has joined several other countries in signing a joint statement calling on Israel to allow unrestricted aid into the Gaza Strip. The foreign ministers of 24 nations say the suffering in the territories reach unimaginable levels. They warn that famine's unfolding before our eyes, and urgent action is needed now to halt and reverse starvation. They insist that all crossings and routes must be used to allow food, shelter, fuel, water, and medicine into the enclave. Israel has denied responsibility for hunger spreading in Gaza, accusing Hamas of stealing aid shipments.
Australia is joining Canada and some other countries announcing its intention to recognize a Palestinian state.
Australia will recognise the state of Palestine.
Australia will recognise the right of the Palestinian people to a state of their own.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the Palestinian Authority has promised to hold general elections and to recognize Israel's right to exist. Albanese has been facing weeks of pressure from within his cabinet to recognize a Palestinian state amid growing criticism over suffering and starvation in Gaza. Australia will make the decision official at the UN General Assembly in September.
It was a disappointing night for Toronto fans of rapper Lil Wayne after he canceled his concert at Budweiser stage at the last minute last night.
We were at the concert, a couple drinks in, hundreds of dollars into it. They didn't open the gates until an hour after it was supposed to open. 2 hours after the first opener was supposed to start, and that's when they told us it was canceled.
I feel like I've done something.
The venue posted a message online saying the show was postponed due to, quote, unforeseen illness. Budweiser stage says a new date will be announced and all previously purchased tickets will be honored. Well, there's finally an end in sight for businesses hit hard by construction closures for years in Little Italy. Little Jamaica, sorry.
Yeah, and now that years of difficulty due to Eglinton Crosstown construction is coming to an end, there is a campaign to get people to come back to Eglinton Avenue West. Our Beth McIntosh is there now live this afternoon with more. Beth.
Michelle, business owners want people to know while the LRT still isn't running, construction is over, traffic lanes are open, and so are the businesses. They're hoping people return to the area after the difficult years of construction and COVID. Since the 1970s, this has been a historically and culturally rich area for people with Caribbean roots. There are still dozens of Black-owned businesses here, but that number has been in decline, with many businesses being forced to close since 2020. Now, business owners say developers have moved in and are buying up buildings, which is driving up rents. This week, Rastafest is once again happening in Little Jamaica. Organizers hope people have fun and support the businesses.
I think the government should be doing more for the business owners. A lot of incentives are done for the developers who are building the condos, but nothing for the business owners. So the business owners, we need financial incentive so we could stay afloat, pay our rent, survive as business owners. Why we're doing Rastafest in Little Jamaica? Because we want to bring people to Little Jamaica. So we figured out, bring a popular festival like Rastafest to the community, bring in people, and so they want to support the business. It's all about supporting the businesses along the Eglinton Street. So when I say Little Jamaica Street Market, it's about coming down, support the business. We're not even bringing in vendors outside. It's all about the business owners to support them because we're the ones who are struggling right now.
With Rastafest on, there are activities and sales throughout the week. There is also lots of good food and a street vendor market coming up. Saturday will be especially fun when international reggae artist Johnny Clark performs. Reporting live in Little Jamaica, I'm Beth McIntosh. Michelle and Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. And there's hot island weather on tap, Lindsay.
There sure is hot island weather on tap for today, but also the possibility of rain. And I know you don't need me to tell you that we need it. We've had no rain so far this August at Pearson Airport. That could change today. Likely to see perhaps a couple of millimeters here in the city. Areas west of here more likely to encounter perhaps some severe thunderstorms. So we're going to talk about the risk for this afternoon. And hey, are you ready for a cool down? There are signs that our temperatures could be below seasonal next week. We'll talk all about it in the 7-day forecast after this break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, we have another heat warning day in Toronto and across the region. And when you get all this heat and the humidity, it's not unusual to have, some stormy weather. And today's one of those days where you could see it. And we do need some water.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have, a garden, you got plants.
They're crunchy.
You want the water. You just want to cool off a little bit, cool the air, clean the air. A lot of benefits to getting some rain.
And I'm thinking a lot about the growers at this time of year. It's almost harvest season for a lot of different crops. And Boy, I know that even, any rain today would help. It's not going to do enough to fix the situation that has been created for this summer. But yes, any rain at this point we will take. There's a possibility that some areas could get some localized heavy downpours. Could be too much of a good thing. If the ground is too dry, that can result in some localized flooding. But we're going to cross our fingers that at the very least we get some wet weather today here in the GTA. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. It was a little bit of an unsettled start to the morning in some parts of the GTA, mainly the East End. But look at the sunrise around the waterfront area today in Toronto. Another glorious summer day. The dog days of summer continue here. Worth mentioning, though, heat warnings have come to an end in parts of Muskoka, around southern Georgian Bay, the Bruce Peninsula. And that's because those communities are no longer reaching heat wave criteria, or heat warning criteria, I should say. But around the Golden Horseshoe, it's another heat wave day for us. Likely to see this heat warning start to come to an end tonight or into tomorrow in many areas. But yeah, it continues at this hour. 31 degrees in Toronto, feels like 40. It also feels like 40 in Windsor, Ontario right now, feeling like 35 in Wyerton and 34 in the Kingston area. Today's high is 32, so we're essentially there right now. Mix of sun and cloud, but yes, the risk of thunderstorms. We'll take an updated look at the satellite and radar in just a moment, but do want to point out that our seasonal norm is 26 degrees. On average, our temperature this August has been 29 degrees, and again, we're already there and above that for this afternoon. Here's your evening patio forecast. This is a day to be weather aware, to keep an eye on the sky and an ear out for thunder. Make sure you have a safe indoor backup place to go if you do have outdoor plans. Overnight tonight, we remain quite warm, 22 for the low. I like to say that anything above 20 degrees is getting uncomfortable for sleeping. And then tomorrow, believe it or not, this is a cooler day at 30 degrees. I think many will take it. It has been very hot. So there's a look at our current satellite and radar. We are getting a little bit of a shower this hour at Pearson Airport. So that's going to hopefully up our rainfall amounts now for the month of August from 0. As we make our way into tomorrow, a cold front does slice through. So that's going to cool us down a little bit. There's the chance of showers and risk of thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight. Better chance of severe weather west of here, and the opportunity for wet weather into Wednesday as well. Drier for your Thursday and your Friday. Cooler at 29 degrees. Hot again for Saturday. Look at Monday, though. Our daytime high, 22. So a bit of a change on the way. Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Definitely. Thank you, Lindsay. Well, swimming sensation Summer McIntosh is taking a break after winning 4 gold medals and a bronze medal at the World Aquatic Championships in Singapore.
But McIntosh says she's looking forward to getting back in the pool and competing with the goal of somehow doing even better. She spoke with CP24's Courtney Heels this morning.
Good morning, Summer. It's such an honor to speak with you, and we're so grateful that you took the time to speak with us. And congratulations, 5 medals, world records. You're back home. Have you had a chance to soak everything in?
Not quite yet. I mean, I've just been chilling with my friends up at my cottage, and I've been about a week out of the water now. I'm already kind of itching to go back, but yeah, just kind of reflecting over this past swim season. I mean, I've accomplished so much, and I'm really proud of what me and Swimming Canada were able to accomplish over in Singapore, but I'm definitely just taking some time to relax and chill before I get back to work.
It certainly is a lot to reflect on. And when you take a look at your accomplishments, I mean, of course, the goal is to win the gold medal, but you're setting so many records, world records, personal records. What does that mean to you? And when that happens, I'd love to know what you're thinking. Are you excited, or are you just thinking, oh, here's a new time I have to be now?
Yes, I mean, in the moment, I think the first 30 seconds, I'm super excited. And then as soon as I talk to my coach and debrief, we're like, okay, I went wrong on this turn, or I went wrong here. So I think the feeling of always wanting more is really important. That's what keeps me improving and moving forward. But I mean, definitely in the moment, I'm ecstatic and things like that. But I think no matter what, I'll never be fully satisfied. And that's really what keeps me motivated.
That kind of leads me to my next question. So you're coming home with 5 medals, 4 gold and a bronze. In the race for bronze, following that, you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting, very real. You said, I hate losing more than I like winning. Tell me how that motivates you while you're in the water.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think people are quoting me saying that. It was not me who said that. I think I read that actually on the back of a Michael Phelps book that I was reading growing up. I think I still have it actually. But yeah, that mentality runs true for me as well. I mean, I love winning, but the feeling of losing is way more strong for me, and I think that mentality is really what gets me motivated to get my hand on the wall first. And anytime I don't, I'm always, hard on myself, and really that's what keeps me motivated in those hard days of training to keep pushing, moving forward, and always striving for perfection, even though I'll never get there. But that's kind of always been my mentality.
It seems like with your mental game, there is really no break. You're just constantly looking to the next race and the next time you're in the water.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think all of us athletes are like that. It's just kind of how we're wired, and I love the day-to-day grind of training and things like that, and of course I love the racing even more, and that adrenaline rush when you walk out, and how you feel in the water with the crowd roaring and things like that. So those are all things that I really keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, and it's kind of like an itch that I have to scratch every now and then. But I just love the passion and the sport so much, and I have so much admiration for what I've been able to do and what me and my friends and my teammates have been able to do. And I think anytime I see any of my teammates have an amazing swim, we kind of motivate each other to keep pushing and moving forward.
Yeah, it's so incredible to see and so exciting for us to cheer you on. A big announcement today, you were partnering up with RBC, and we know RBC is really big in supporting Canadian athletes, Team Canada. As an athlete, what does that support mean to you as you look ahead to the next Olympics?
Oh, it means the world, and today's such an exciting day to be announced with RBC Olympians program. It's going to be an amazing few years with them, and I'm so excited to see what we can grow together, and the collaboration is going to be really exciting. I'm sure I can meet many other amazing athletes that they're associated with, and being a brand ambassador is really, really cool opportunity for me, and it's pretty unbelievable, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just honored.
And McIntosh has partnered with RBC as an ambassador for the RBC Olympians program that provides financial support and skill development opportunities to current and future athletes.
Now to a new exhibit in Harbourfront aimed at getting visitors to think about the past, present, and the future.
It's a mural with a fossil theme. CTV's Jessica Smith joins us now live with more. This sounds different.
It is really unique, Nathan and Michelle, and we're outside. So it's a kind of a series of murals. There's 3 of them, and it's by Canadian-based artists, and it's really something you have to come down to see to believe it. If you know Queens Quay, you know Harbourfront Centre. I'm going to bring in Jana. You're with the Harbourfront Centre. Talk to me about these massive pieces, because there's one on each side of the structure here outside of the Harbourfront Centre, but you really have to kind of like stop, look again, and maybe look a third time to understand what you're seeing. But explain to us who the artist is.
Absolutely. So this incredible artist is Anna Binta Diallo, and she's Winnipeg-based. And the series of 3 pieces here was site-specific commissioned through her. And one of the stories she's really interested in telling through her work is an experience of time, and specifically the way that we generate and leave behind different objects and artifacts of our own existence. And so when you look at these pieces, she's putting forward figures that are created out of different collaged images of natural materials, and she's really trying to draw you in to figure out the different aspects of human relationships and human identity, and to really think very carefully, especially in terms of the title of the work, Fluid Fossils, what is that flow of relationship between the way we live our lives today and for generations that are coming after us?
It's pretty cool because, I mean, this is a pretty iconic, spot here in the city down by the water, and everybody knows the Harbourfront Centre. Why was it important to make this such a large-scale exhibition and free? Because public access is so important when it comes to seeing the art we have around the city.
Absolutely. Well, Harbourfront on an annual basis welcomes 6.3 million visitors, and being able to experience all aspects of our 10-acre campus right on the lake is really important. And our identity is about being a waterfront community that shares culture, learning, and recreation. So being able to support and promote and celebrate artists like Anna and the work that they do is a way of bringing another level of experience to the campus, to culture in the city, and to find your own identity and your own roots in place.
So obviously we're in the midst of the summer season. It's a little hot outside, but does this go into the winter time?
Absolutely. So this installation will be up until the end of December. So folks will be able to come back, experience the work in different seasons, different light, and bring that story through their own experience over time.
It is really cool. So make sure you come on down. Y'all know Queens Quay, you know the Harbourfront Centre. Go and enjoy it. Thank you so much, Jen. We're going to send things back inside.
My pleasure.
Most would agree it's almost impossible to get away from all the scam phone calls, texts, and email these days.
They are exhausting. Well, two CTV News viewers clicked on links that caused their bank accounts to be hacked, and they both lost more than $20,000 each. Pat Foran has their stories.
Just be careful.
Christina Petrozelli of Mississauga got a link that said she had to click on it to decline a purchase. Concerned she was being scammed, she did, but it led to her being hacked and her bank account being taken over.
I clicked decline, and I guess that's where the scam was, because me clicking decline was them having access to my account.
Petrozelli was scammed out of just over $22,000. Her bank is RBC, and she was shocked to be told because she had granted the scammers access to her account, she won't be reimbursed.
I have feelings, and I have people that rely on me, and you're taking everything that I had, and I didn't do it.
A spokesperson for RBC told CTV News, "We are unable to share details. However, RBC will never ask you to download a remote access application."
I clicked the link and I updated my information. And then the next thing you know, my phone stopped working.
Christy Seymour of Oshawa also clicked on a link she thought was updating her credit card. Her phone was hacked and scammers got into her account and stole almost $29,000. She had called Wealthsimple for 3 days to block her account, but couldn't get through.
That was all of the money I've saved my entire life, and it's just gone, and they're not taking any responsibility for their part of the problem.
Wealthsimple told Seymour, your account appears to have been accessed by an individual to whom you've authorized via a phishing scam.
They're getting more and more targeted, more personalized, and more sophisticated.
Cybersecurity experts say everyone should be using dual-factor authentication to add another layer of protection and be cautious of all links you receive.
The three things that they're counting on are surprise, urgency, and that need to respond.
After CTV News contacted Wealthsimple, they reviewed Seymour's case and said, as a gesture of goodwill, we have reimbursed the losses she experienced while trying to contact our team. She was given a full refund of almost $29,000, which was great news for her.
Thanks, CTV. I feel wonderful. Like all the worry and dread and regret and doubt is gone, and I feel great. I don't know what I would do without you guys.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Fresh off her magical run at the National Bank Open in Montreal, Canada's tennis queen, Victoria Mboko, was holding court, but also trying to stay focused on her next tournament.
The 18-year-old shocked the tennis world after claiming her first title and soaring up the rankings to number 24. CTV's Adrian Gobriel spoke one-on-one with Mboko.
Utter disbelief. Victoria Mboko's maiden WTA title.
National Bank Canadian champion. How does that sound?
Now that when you say it like that, I mean, it feels kind of crazy. I'd say it's kind of hitting me a little bit harder now than it was right after the match.
But when you reflect back and you see what you've accomplished in such a short amount of time, what does that mean to you?
If I would have told my younger self that, you know, I would have done something like that, I would have never thought of it.
Your family flees war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. You were born in the U.S. in 2006. Shortly thereafter, you move to Canada. Do you believe the resilience, the perseverance of your parents, of your family, has transferred into your game on the court?
I think it definitely does. Maybe I haven't really experienced what they've experienced along the way, but knowing that kind of sacrifice that they make, they worked overtime, you know, so we can have the opportunity to have more lessons and play in the group practices and play with good people. There was just so many sacrifices along the way that played a big role into who I am today. I think growing up, I always was aware of it. And I think I made more of an effort to try to better myself, to make it worth it, you know?
You're 18 years old. You just won your country's top tennis tournament. How does Victoria Mboko stay grounded while continuing to rise?
I think having a great support system around me, having people who know who you are, I think it's very important at tournaments and even in life as I advance in my career, to have just great people around me that can make me feel like me and who can make me feel comfortable as well.
The teenage champion is indeed sure-footed in the spotlight. Her youthful gaze now shifts to the U.S. Open, where she'll be playing for the very first time, with aspirations of winning her first Grand Slam tournament now on the horizon. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Thousands of Air Canada flight attendants protested at the country's largest airports yesterday, including at Pearson, as a possible strike looms.
CTV's Andrew Johnson has more on what's at stake and what a strike could mean for your summer vacation.
400 flight attendants lined up outside Vancouver International Airport, trying to send a message to Air Canada and the traveling public without saying a word.
I'm a musician, so I travel a lot, and I also have a hard time making a livable wage, and I know that they work really hard, so yeah, I think they deserve to be paid for what they do.
The union is calling today's protest a show of strength held simultaneously in Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal.
Air Canada is a company that makes millions of dollars. They can afford to recognize the work and the value that we bring, and that's what we're here to say today.
The union says wages need to go up, and flight attendants have to start getting paid for pre-flight safety checks, boarding, deplaning, and assisting passengers if there's a medical emergency.
We could be on there for hours, assisting passengers, medicals. None of that is paid. It is not until the wheel pushes back and then when it breaks, and that is the only time in which we are paid. We're devoted employees. We love our company, but we need to be paid to do the work.
That message seemed to resonate with passengers.
Did you know how flight attendants are paid?
No, I didn't know that. So I think if they're here, they should get paid.
Do you work for nothing? It's BS.
Contract talks are continuing. Air Canada tells CTV its goal is to come to a negotiated settlement that will make its flight attendants the best compensated in the country, and also support the airline's long-term growth.
The union is in strike position as of Saturday at 12:01 a.m., but they do need to give 72 hours notice. If that goes ahead, 10,000 flight attendants could walk off the job and potentially send summer travel sideways. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
With respiratory virus season just around the corner, there are growing calls to make RSV immunizations available across the country. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is the leading cause of infant hospitalizations in Ontario, with 1 in 50 babies affected in their first year.
The issue of RSV and raising awareness is so important because of what we went through with Willa.
That was in 2023, before immunizations against RSV were available in Canada.
The emotional trauma of seeing your 2-month-old be hooked up to all these machines. She was sick for about 2 weeks. We were in the hospital for 4 days. Then I would say it took a couple more weeks for her to start getting back to herself.
We don't have an antiviral drug. What we do is what we call supportive therapy, so oxygen, IV fluids.
Dr. Vivian Brown says RSV is a very common virus that can affect any baby.
The number one risk is no risk. We see it in normal, healthy babies. We see RSV throughout the year, but predominantly around October through March. But a couple of years ago, the Children's Hospital in Eastern Ottawa had an overflow of RSV cases in August.
The majority of infants recover, but it can leave permanent effects.
Every time she gets any sort of respiratory illness, it takes a really long time for her to recover. And I think that can be correlated to her experiencing RSV.
Right now, Ontario is the only province covering both the vaccine Abrysvo, offered late in pregnancy to protect newborns, as well as antibodies called Beyfortus, given to infants.
If they had been available, I would definitely have opted in to having the vaccine prior to giving birth to her.
The Federation of Medical Women of Canada is urging all provinces and territories to follow Ontario's example, but even in Ontario, many families aren't aware that this protection against RSV is available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Some of the best young basketball players in the world are in Toronto this week for Global Jam.
This is a great environment for them to grow. You know, you have some of our players that after their freshman year in university, they run off to the NBA. But there's so many others that just need a little bit more time to develop, right? Incubate and play internationally. And then as you see through the years, slowly, we've had a number of players from global jams in the past that have now made their way into the NBA.
The annual event features the world's best under-23 teams representing their countries in a 5-on-5 tournament over 4 days at the Mattamy Athletic Center. Canada will be taking on the U.S., Puerto Rico, Brazil, and Japan. Global Jam is in its 3rd year, and the tournament gets underway tomorrow.
I went to that. It was last year or the year before. It was great. Great to see such talent.
You always say Toronto's a basketball city. We're not just a hockey city.
There's more proof.
Weather-wise, take us through what we should expect.
Yeah, so this afternoon, I want everyone to pay attention to the sky. Keep an ear out for thunder. We're starting to see our first severe thunderstorm warning issued. This is what the satellite and radar looks like. So we're starting to see some showers and thunderstorms develop around the GTA. The warning right now is for the Chatham area. This is where heavy downpours could cause localized flooding. The risk is going to be there for this afternoon and into the overnight in many areas as well. Opportunity for more wet weather into the GTA for tomorrow. It is a slightly cooler day at 30 degrees. We dry out again for Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 20s. Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Take care. Bye for that.